Okay, everybody, hello, hello. And for those of you on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and KGRADB Radio, and Rumble, hello to you guys. And now we're live on our Spreaker format, and we're live here, right here with my friends there on TikTok. Well, happy Friday to you. Happy Friday. It's Friday, Friday, Friday. Whatever you're going to do, hopefully you're having a good Friday. Well, thank you. Hopefully you're going to have a good one. You're going to enjoy it. Yeah, do something good for yourself. Just do something good for yourself, because I tell you, life is just too stressful. It's just too stressful. So go outside, if you can take a walk, just whatever it is, just do something good for yourself. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a stressful thing. But it's Friday. And by the way, it's Paranormal Fridays, where today we talk about anything and everything related to the paranormal world. So we're looking forward to it. This is one of my, of course, I love doing Bible study, and no question about that. But I love our Paranormal Fridays. The Paranormal Fridays are a good time. We just chill. I give a lecture, basically, a presentation of a topic, and then we go into demonology questions and just share some, all kinds of things. So, all right, everybody, a couple things. I'm Bishop James Long. Hello, and welcome to the presentation. Now, I want you to go to the site. Please go to the site, KGRAD, as in dog, B as in bicycle, KGRADB.com. Now, they have, folks, if you love the paranormal like I do, you got to go to the site, because they have some amazing shows that air right there on KGRADB Radio. And guess what? This show airs on KGRADB as well. So we love partnering with them. They sponsor our shows every time we go live. You guys get Sundays and Wednesdays and Fridays and Saturdays. So we appreciate they're sponsoring the shows. Now, as Mr. Producer put in the chat or on the screen, if you go to KGRADB Radio, make sure you put Bishop as your promo code, because you're going to get 30% off your subscription. Now, it's already inexpensive, but truly, I'm telling you guys, do yourself a favor. Put Bishop as your promo code, get your 30% off. Truly, I love this site. And I'm not blowing smoke. I'm telling you, I really do enjoy the site. It's very professional, great shows, quality hosts, quality topics. And so KGRADB.com. By the way, I was just informed by Mr. Producer, guess whose show is number one in the paranormal field on KGRADB Radio? Our show, Sacred Division, right here, Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are number one in the paranormal field, in the paranormal genre, if you will, on KGRADB Radio. That's exciting. That's really cool. I just love that. And that's because you guys participate, you watch it, you share it, you share the live, you tell people about KGRADB Radio. That's wonderful. Now, I also would like for you to please do yourself a favor. If you're really bored and you have nothing else better to do, well, you can go to my website, bishopjameslong.com. bishopjameslong, thank you, Christine, .com. Folks, by the way, I want to give you guys a heads up. I have online classes, and they're free of charge. So here's what you want to do. If you want to learn demonology, angelology, paranormal studies, and genealogy, thank you. If you want to learn that, you can learn it at your own pace. It's 100% online. You take tests. It gives you certificates. It's all free. You're learning 4 classes at your own pace. This is what you got to do. All you got to do is go to my website, bishopjameslong.com, click on the class link, and scroll down, and you'll see the 4 links right there. It's all on Facebook. It's all on, I'm not live on YouTube yet, really? Well, it says I'm live. That's weird. Thank you, Jeremiah, for letting us know about, it says I'm live. I'll have to figure that out. But anyway, it's all free. And these are very detailed classes. So please do yourself a favor, enjoy it. We want to give the United States Old Catholic Church wants to give that to you. I want to give that to you guys. And so enjoy it, learn, have fun, and it's all about sharing the knowledge. That's what it is. Now, if you want to go to the church's website, we'll talk about that in a second, Joe. USOCC.org. USOCC.org. That is the church's website. Tonight we have, by the way, night prayer. And night prayer is at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, thank you there, Lily. The best way is to send it to snail mail, Lily. So if you want to write me or send me anything, the best is just mail in my P.O. box. You can go to bishopjameslong.com and scroll down to where it says mailing address. That's just the best way, if you want to. So again, usocc.org is night prayer. It's strictly audio. So at 9:45, we play music. And then at 10 p.m., we have our prayer as well as with you. So, and Judy Ann's going to be praying with us tonight. So there we go. There we go, folks. Excuse me. Now, someone was asking about why do we have this spooky, the background. Every single show that I do, every one, except for Friday, we have either, I have my background, my fall background up now because I love fall and I'm ready for it. Or it was used to be a stained glass, beautiful stained glass, the background. So I change it out this time of the year. So Fridays, this is the only time. This is the only time that this is up because it's our Paranormal Friday show. There we go. So it's a Paranormal Friday show. All right. Oh, you're a summer. I tell you what, Kentucky. I live in Kentucky, and I just the heat and the humidity. Forget about it. Forget about it. Yeah. So anyway, this is usually I only do this on Fridays. Okay. By the way, tomorrow we're going to be here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from 8 o'clock to 8:30. It's open mic night from 8 o'clock to 8:30. Judy Ann and Miss Wilma, they join us and we goof off, have fun, harass each other. And then at 8:30, we go into topics, demonology, paranormal. We'll just open mic. All right. And that is how we do things. Now, again, for those of you who are on TikTok, moderators, let me know. Right now, it doesn't seem so bad. I would prefer that we leave chat open. That's my preference. Only because, quite honestly, if we close it, then the trolls come over to Facebook and then they troll. Then I have to stop the entire show to deal with that individually. So it's nice if we can leave the chat open. But if it gets bad, just tell me. If it gets bad, just let me know and then we'll close it out. But every time I close the chat for subscribers only, they come over to TikTok or on Facebook, and then I have to stop the entire show because there are no moderate. We can't moderate there. So it just makes it very difficult. All right. So tonight, we're going to have a decent, fun-filled, exciting show. Because people ask me all the time. Nicole says, I'll tell the trolls off. There you go. Sage. People are always asking me about sage. And is it demonic? Is it evil? Why should, can Christians do it? Is it, is it the work of the devil and things of this nature? And I understand why some people may have that perception. But I want to talk a little bit about that because I think it's important. Oh, thank you there, Judy Ann. I appreciate that. Judy Ann just reminded me. Folks, I'm going to be in Moundsville, the Paranormal Conference. So they're having this at the Moundsville prison there. And it's at it's a Paranormal Conference, September the 14th and the 15th. I will also be at the Bel Air House on Friday the 13th, by the way. And so we're going to be doing a show. I will be live Friday the 13th at the Bel Air House. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Bel Air House is one of the most haunted locations in the United States. And so I'm going to be live there Friday the 13th. And I talked to Kristen Lee, who owns the Bel Air House, and she sent this to me on my Facebook Messenger. So let me just send this, let you guys hear this. So it says, I'm thrilled to invite you to two spine-chilling events in the Ohio Valley that you won't want to miss. So join us starting Friday, September the 13th at the infamous Bel Air House in Bel Air, Ohio from 6 p.m. And we will kick off the evening with check-in followed by my live radio show from 7 p.m. until 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard. And I'll be sharing and discussing paranormal experiences. And we will have night prayer as normally at 10 o'clock. But that's not all. After the show, you'll have a rare chance to investigate the Bel Air House there, along with paranormal experts Sean Austin and Kristen Lee. And don't forget, Kristen will also be whipping up a haunted feast in their spooky kitchen, and you can enjoy during the live broadcast show. So this is your opportunity to explore the mysteries of the Bel Air House, share your experiences live on air. And now you can contact them, and you pay for that. And of course, lodging, if you want to do a lodging, you can certainly do so as well. You can stay at the Bel Air House from Friday, the 13th, until Monday. And you can they'll contact them, and they'll let you know how much all that stuff costs. So anyway, mark your calendars, grab your friends, prepare for a weekend filled with chills and thrills. And for more information, this is where you need to go. You need to go to BelAirHouseTours.com. Okay, so it's BelAirHouseTours.com. Let me type this in real quick into the banner so that because people are asking. So let me see, www.BELLAIRE house tours TOURS.com. And there you go. So there it is the link, BelAirHouseTours.com, BELLAIRE house tours, all one word.com. Now keep in mind, folks, they have a very limited amount of people. So just a heads up on that. So if you want to be there, and if you want to, we're going to do a live show. We'll be live on the set at the location, and you can go there, and please do so. Now, the West Virginia Penn Horror and Paranormal Convention. It's a horror and paranormal convention that will be as well. So you can go. Let me just open this up here. There's a lot of things I'm trying to open up and juggle, and it's a lot. No, we don't want to do this. And hang tight, because people are asking me about the West Virginia. Okay. There it is. You can go to WV. So WV stands for West Virginia. WVPennTours.com. So WV as in Victor, Penn, PEN, Tours.com. And that's going to be September the 14th and 15th. I will be there giving a presentation, and I'll also be having several items, quite a few actually, items with me. I'll be bringing those so you can actually see it. I will have the John Gacy paintings, the Dahmer glasses. I will be bringing the doll that was, of course, featured on the Eli Roth Presents Legion of Exorcists show that I was on. So you'll see that, plus other items that you've never seen before. So that's going to be in West Virginia on the 14th and 15th. So we have a lot. It's a lot of good, great stuff. And of course, the Arkansas Paranormal Expo, and that's going to be in October. But we'll hold off on that because I think we're ready for the show. I don't know, Vernon. I haven't had a lot of time to look at that, but I'll look at that. Okay, I'm not going to forget about the Sage. I just have to give presentations. I have to give the business perspectives first. Are you Bishop James? Yeah. Yeah, I'm Bishop James. How are you doing? Okay. So let's go, everybody. We are going to talk about Sage. Sage. Is it evil? Is it demonic? Is it something you should avoid? Is it something that the devil says to use? No. All right, there's a couple things that we're going to talk about. Here's basically the overview that I'm going to present to you guys. And for the first hour, I give a lecture. I don't really answer questions because I'm focused on the lecture. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll open it up for everybody. You want to get 3 push-ups for Jesus? Let me tell you something. If I try to do a push-up right now, I'd probably break my leg or break my arm or break my elbow. But I appreciate that, though. All right. So we're going to talk about ancient uses for sage. And it's been used, by the way, for thousands of years in various cultures for both culinary and medicinal purposes. It is by the way, it's mentioned its use in ancient Egypt, in Rome. Thank you for subscribing. In Rome, Greece, for healing, and of course, religious rituals. We're also going to be talking about how medieval and the Renaissance Europe and how it kind of grew there. Sage was actually considered a cure-all during the Middle Ages. and often used in elixirs for longevity and health. And we're going to talk about how they did this during this time, and also the cultural spread, how sage's use spread across different countries and continents. We'll also discuss about its reputation among some Christians, like the historical context, how, why there are some Christian individuals or communities viewed sage and other herbs as evil and idolatry and witchcraft. There are some theological issues that people bring up, and we'll just talk about that. And of course, I do want to talk about there are health benefits. There are health benefits for using sage, and a lot of people don't know this. And so some of these things are going to really be, hopefully, open your mouth. For those of you who kind of very, very firm belief that sage is evil, hopefully you will get a different perspective. And then, of course, we're going to talk about how sage can actually be used in spiritual battles. See, I don't think sage is anything evil at all. My grandmother was Cherokee. My grandfather was Cherokee. And so I think that there's such a misconception about sage. And hopefully this will open people's minds. Okay. So let's talk about ancient civilizations first. And again, folks, remember, I'm not answering any questions for the first hour. I'm giving a lecture here. And that's how we do it on Friday nights. So in Egypt, sage was used in embalming practices due to its, its preservative qualities. And it was also used in religious ceremonies. So it had a sacred status in ancient Egypt. Now in Greece, the Greeks revered sage for its healing properties. And if you know anything about philosophy, Aristotle, who of course is one of the greatest philosophers, reportedly referred to it as to save, indicating its importance in medicine. And then, by the way, in Rome, in ancient Rome, Romans used sage not only in cooking, which, by the way, sage is still used in cooking, but also for its medicinal purposes. And Pliny the Elder, in his Natural History, mentioned sage use for various ailments, including ulcers and even snake bites. And then, of course, in medieval Europe, a lot of monastic gardens. So, like during the Middle Ages, sage was a staple in monastic gardens. I mean, quite honestly, you probably couldn't get to see many monasteries without it. Monks actually used it in their infirmary, for the gardens, for its wide range of health benefits, including treating fevers, liver disease, and epilepsy. Thank you. And herbal lore as well. Sage was often mentioned in medieval herbals. So for like this 14th century herbalist John Gerard wrote about sage's ability to procure a good memory. Well, that's interesting because I've used sage many times before, and I don't know if it's affected my memory, but certainly I'm open to the possibility. Now, in the Renaissance period, by the way, there were scientific renaissance with the rise of scientific inquiry. Sage's properties were more systematically studied. And it was during this time that sage's use in treating memory loss and cognitive decline began to be documented more extensively. See, I didn't know this. So when I was doing some more research on this, I was like, this is pretty amazing. I don't know how much sage was either used or consumed, but I think it's still interesting. And then, of course, cultural spread. Sage's reputation spread across Europe, becoming integrated into folk medicine across different cultures, each adding their own traditional uses. No, I'm talking about sage, period. So look, let me explain something. And again, you see, this is a pen. We all agree this is a pen. And this is a pen that, has a sharp point. Right? Now, I can use this pen for nefarious reasons, or I can use this pen as it was designed to write things. The pen itself is neither good or evil. It just is. So what you do with sage really determines whether or not it is evil. The act is evil. I have a church censer over there. the church censer that we use to bless things. Okay, so I can use the church censer for nefarious, evil practices or rituals, or I could use it to, as I do during church. So does it make the church censer evil? No. It's the act behind it, the intent behind it. So people who would like to attack Sage and say, "Oh, it's evil, it's a witch," again, absurd. Now, the global spread of Sage, by the way, Native American traditions, while not the same, species, white sage was used by Native Americans and still is for smudging rituals, which involve burning sage to cleanse a person or a space of negative energy, which, by the way, I do have no problem whatsoever using sage. And here's why. There are many times if people who live in an apartment complex, you can't burn a charcoal. So, when you have the church censer, the charcoal, you burn it and it burns very hot. It's like charcoal, you burn outside if you're making, having a cookout, and it burns very hot. And many apartment complexes will not allow you to have burnt charcoals inside. They just won't. You can get kicked out for it. But however, sage, there are no issues with that. So that's what sometimes in those situations I will use sage, and I also do it out of respect and honor of my own grandparents who were Native American, who were both Cherokee. And even in global spread, sage was less common, but still found in Asia and the Middle East. Its way into traditional medicine in regions like Iran, where it was used for digestive issues. That's pretty interesting. And of course, I can't bring you guys on. I wish I could, but I can't. So their culinary uses for the modern era for sage became a popular herb in culinary dishes, especially the Mediterranean cuisine, known for enhancing flavors in like meats and sausages and stuffing. And of course, also with with global trade, sage began to be cultivated on a larger scale. So there, you can see basically through history, sage has been used for a variety of reasons. And by the way, let's get into the controversy of sage. Thank you. And for those of you who have no idea why I keep saying thank you, people on TikTok are offering gifts to the ministry. So I say thank you and subscribing. So thank you for sharing TikTok, and thank you for liking the live. We appreciate that. The more you like, then the more it gets into the algorithm. The more it gets into the algorithm, then the more people will see the live. So, and again, if I don't say thank you, it's because I have two different computers running at the same time. So just understand, if I don't say thank you for the gifts, it's not because I'm being rude. It's just because I don't see it. Okay. Okay. Look, I acknowledge that sage, particularly its use in smudging or burning for spiritual purposes, it has sparked a variety of reactions within the Christian community. Okay. So let's talk why. Well, historically speaking, sage's use in rituals, it actually predates Christianity. And its association with pre-Christian pagan practices has led some Christians to view it with suspicion, even linking it to idolatry or witchcraft. And that's the problem that I see. I don't understand why in the world people would see that the sage in of itself as evil. Because just as I explained, I can use the church censer for nefarious reasons, but it doesn't make the church censer evil. I could use the pen for nefarious reasons, but it doesn't make the pen evil. It's the intent behind the act. Now, what's interesting that I want to mention, the Bible is actually quite silent when it comes to sage. The Bible does not explicitly mention sage or its burning for spiritual purification. So this absence has led to different interpretations. Now, some argue that since sage isn't mentioned, its use isn't inherently wrong. Others infer from a broader biblical teachings against pagan practices, well, thank you for the rose, that any ritual not explicitly sanctioned by Scripture might be questionable. So, well, that's true. But again, it depends on how you use sage. Now, let's talk about the theological concerns with sage. So the spiritual authority. So a significant concern among Christians is the source of spiritual authority. And if sage burning is believed to cleanse and protect from evil spirits, it might imply a power outside of God. See, that's the issue, which conflicts with Christian teachings on the sovereignty of God. However, the issue that people don't understand is when I use sage, I will bless the sage. Just as I like have incense or charcoal that we burn for the church censer. It's over there. I have to unplug everything to show you. So just as we use that, we also bless that. So that's considered a sacramental of the church, like holy water, oil, of course, using the incense. And these are blessed items. Now, the problem is people will say, aha, you're using sage and you're saying that power protects from evil outside of God. And I'm saying no, any more than me using charcoal. I'm not saying that the charcoal is going to cause evil to fly away. Charcoal in of itself has no power. There's no power within charcoal. It's charcoal. However, what the intent of the use behind it, and the blessing of that charcoal and the incense, well, now you're dealing with the sacramental of the church, just as you do with holy water. Now, there's also people who argue about idolatry and superstition using sage. So they say the practice of smudging, which we're going to talk about smudging in a moment, can be seen as a form of idolatry if it attributes divine or supernatural powers to the herb itself rather than to God. So this perspective views sage burning as a superstitious act, akin to relying on charms or amulets. Now, here's the deal. You got to understand, no matter what you use, no matter what, if you're using this to battle evil, but you recognize that the charcoal in of itself does not contain the power. It is the blessing of the item used for God's glory to fight evil. That you're using, obviously, the divine power, divine grace, not the charcoal itself. Now, there's also, I understand too, the argument is that a lot of Christians don't like sage is because when you think of New Age movement or like New Age stores, you see a lot of sage. And they immediately say they identify sage with witchcraft or, paganism or idolatry and all this other stuff. Because sage's adoption by the New Age movement, often mixed with various spiritual practices not rooted in Christianity, has further alienated some Christians. So we see these practices as heretical. Many people do. I don't. Meaning that the sage in of itself. Now, there's a lot of modern interpretations with the use of sage. So let's talk about a couple of things. So cultural sensitivity versus spiritual discernment. What does that mean? Thank you there, Red. Yep, I am an exorcist. So I performed 31 exorcisms, studied for the Roman Catholic priesthood for 6 years, received my minor orders. So I've been doing this for over 2 decades. Well, again, Cecil's asking, why do you need anything but the word of God? Well, absolutely, you need the word of God, but you also, there's sacramentals of the church, because what you're doing is you're breaking down the intellect and will of the demon while you continue to do the blessing. So that's the part of the actual ritual itself. So let's talk about cultural sensitivity versus spiritual discernment. And folks, a lot of people I'm getting slammed with questions on Messenger. I can't answer questions. I'm not going to answer questions right now, because if I answer every single question and stop, I'll never get through this presentation. Never. So here's what please, if we can just I will get to your questions. I promise you. I promise you I will. But we're going to do that at 8:00. So there's a growing awareness of cultural appropriation when non-Indigenous people use sage for smudging. And some people say that complicates Christian responses. I don't think so. Some advocate for cultural respect, suggesting that if sage is used, it should be with the understanding and respect for its origins. I understand that too. But I don't think that sage is only allowed to one particular group of people. Sage is available to everyone. Now, and also when you're talking about modern interpretations, you have to talk about personal conviction. So among contemporary Christians, there is a spectrum of beliefs. Some see no issue at all with using sage, for example, like myself, for its even aroma or medicinal purposes, separating these uses from spiritual ones. Now, others, however, maintain a strict avoidance, seeing any use as potentially open doors to spiritual practices contrary to the faith. Now, and we're also talking about health and spiritual benefits. There's a lot of debates there. Now, and I'm going to talk about the actual health benefits. People always argue science. Well, what does science say? Well, I'm going to present some scientific evidence that there is clear health benefits with using sage. So while many acknowledge sage's health benefits, the spiritual benefits claimed by smudging are often debated, and that's fair. Some Christians argue that if sage has any spiritual effect, it's through psychological comfort rather than supernatural intervention, aligning more with aromatherapy than spiritual warfare. I got to tell you guys, I've known quite a few people who have used sage, and especially when they've had malevolent, nefarious activity in their home. And after the use of the sage, that I, you can get a clergy member to bless it, the activity either stops or dramatically subsides. Now, here's the problem. If you use, let's say this is sage, and if you use this is the bare bone argument. If you're using this sage to expel a demonic or malevolent spirit, and you're saying that the properties within this sage and this sage alone is what expels this evil, that I can see as a valid argument, because you're saying the properties alone in this is what actually expels the demonic. From a Christian perspective, that's incorrect. The sage, once it is blessed, it becomes a sacramental. This then is, you bless, make the sign of the cross, you're using its matter and form. So matter and form, in other words, the form are the words, the prayers you pray. So someone said that all you need is the words of God. Well, that's a part of a sacrament. So you have the matter and form, like holy water. The matter is water. That's what you use, holy water. You bless the water. And the form are the words that you use while you're using the holy water to expel the demonic. But you understand that it is God's grace. It is God's blessings. It is God's power, ultimately, within this sacramental to expel the demonic. So anybody who says that sage in of itself has the power to expel a demon and that there is no use for the form, if the words, well, yeah, I can see there's an argument there. I can see that that's a valid argument from a Christian perspective. So the reputation of sage among Christians, it varies widely from outright rejection, because many people associate sage as paganism, and even to potential idolatry. Idolatry is because, again, as I mentioned, people idolize sage as if that in of itself has the power to expel. So that's the idolatry. And yeah, that's problematic from a theological perspective, but I disagree. Now let's talk about the health benefits, because I think this is really, really important. And there are a lot, and I'm going to get into even more specific in a moment. That's right. I agree, Jesse. Okay. So let's talk about that. There's a lot of properties, a lot of powerful properties. Sage contains compounds, and it has potent antioxidant effects, helping to combat oxidative stress, reduce inflammation. Thank you. And actually reduces inflammation in the body. Now, there are many people, especially those who practice holistic medicine, that will absolutely argue, and I'm not a holistic practitioner, if you will, but there's a lot of people who say that sage helps with memory enhancement. if any of you guys are, you know, practitioners in herbal medicine, let me know. Oh, it's good for blood pressure, blood sugars too. See, I don't know this, so I would like to know if any of you are practitioners in herbal remedies. You know, if you can validate this, I would be very curious about this. But a lot of people argue that there is memory enhancement with the use of sage. By the way, studies are actually suggesting that sage can improve cognitive function, particularly memory. Oh, and cholesterol too. So compounds like cineol and camphor are believed to enhance these levels, and which are crucial for memory. Pretty interesting. There's a lot of people who say this has anti-inflammatory effects. So the anti-inflammatory properties of sage can help in managing conditions like arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, reducing pain and swelling. It also has antimicrobial activity. So sage has been shown to have antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral properties. So, you know, useful in treating infections, particularly of the mouth and throat. That's, again, interesting stuff. Now, some people swear by sage tea. That just doesn't sound very good to me, but frankincense oil? Interesting. Now, it's often used for sore throats, sage tea. Sage tea can soothe and disinfect the throat. Oral health. So sage says it extracts or rinses can be beneficial for gum health, reducing plaque and fighting against gingivitis. Digestive aid. Sage has been traditionally used to alleviate digestive issues like bloating or having gas issues, indigestion, and it stimulates a bile flow, aiding in better digestion. Skin conditions. Allegedly, sage oil or extracts can be used topically for skin conditions, like even for acne. And aromatherapy. Now, here's the deal with aromatherapy. I've got to be honest with you guys. I think sage kind of stinks. So for me, it's like I don't really like, woohoo, I get to burn sage. I just think it kind of smells. But inhaling sage oil can have allegedly calming effects, reducing stress and anxiety, which indirectly benefits overall health by lowering cortisol levels, which people were talking about cholesterol. Now, by the way, research, and this is interesting. This is not, I'm presenting evidence for you guys, not based on a new age store, but there has been research that it does help with memory and cognitive function, because there was a study published in the Journal of Clinical Pharmacy and Therapeutics, and it actually showed that sage can improve memory performance in healthy adults. Now that to me, that's a win-win. So I'm going to personally do a little bit more research on this, because to me, I think that's pretty exciting. Antioxidant capacity. So various studies have confirmed sage's high antioxidant content, again, with the Journal of Clinical Pharmacy and Therapeutics, and anti-diabetic potential. There are some research now that is indicating that sage might help lower blood sugar levels, suggesting a potential role in diabetes management. So you see, this is why I want to present a different perspective on sage, because immediately when people think of sage, they think of paganism and witchcraft and Satanism and all, and that to me is so sad, because I think sage has a bad rap, because there's a lot of great benefits from sage that I just mentioned. Now let's talk about spiritual warfare, because this is one of the things that I will tell you I have used and I will continue to use. Thank you. And I will continue to use sage in my ministry. One, because it honors my grandma and my grandpa, who are both Cherokee. And also, as I mentioned, there are many times you cannot burn charcoal inside in an apartment complex. You can't. So let's talk about the belief that sage can be used as a tool in spiritual warfare. Thank you. So purification and protection. Sage, particularly through the practice of, it's called smudging. It's believed to cleanse spaces of negative energy or entities. And this act of purification is seen as a form of spiritual battle, where sage's smoke is thought to dispel darkness and invite light or positive energy. But keep in mind, I want to stress this. I don't say, and I don't believe that sage in of itself is going to expel the demonic. It is because I bless the sage. I use also the form, which are the words, to expel whatever demonic that is present. I absolutely sage my home. So if I don't want to use the charcoal, because that takes a lot of time and you have to, it's a mess. So I many times I use sage for that. Well, I'm not even. Oh my goodness, that 357 guy. Now, sir, let me just explain something to you. I'm a celibate man, and I am not going to touch that comment with the 10-foot pole. He said, "Will it work on my wife's attitude?" I think your wife's going to be calling me here pretty soon, saying you need to sage my husband. Oh, boy, I'm not. That's we are not going to touch that one. No. I remember, this is what I do know, even as a celibate man. Happy wife, happy life. Just apparently that's that's what you've got to do. There you go. A cultural practice in Native American tradition, sage is actually used not just for cleansing, but also for protection, invoking spiritual guardians like your guardian angels. And that aligns with the concept of spiritual warfare. And then the Christian's perspective on the sage use. Let's talk about that. While some Christians might view sage's spiritual use skeptically, others actually integrate it into their practices, like me, seeing it as a natural tool, thank you, provided by God for spiritual cleansing. Again, akin to using holy water or incense, they're both blessed. And I have no problems using them, none. Okay, this is my Bennett. Someone's asking on Messenger. This is a Benedictine lapel pin. So I'm a Benedictine, so I follow the rules of Saint Benedict. And this is my Mensa lapel pin. Okay, Mensa membership lapel pin. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. Enhancing spiritual awareness. So sage's aroma. Do you guys think sage smells good? Let me say yes. If you would say yes or no, I think it smells terrible. And so is that just me? I just. So a lot of people, some people like it. It's it is very pungent. It is. No. There's a lot of people, it does smell. Now, there are some people who swear that there is a particular sage, I forgot what it was called, it's actually the lavender, sage and lavender. Yeah, it just, to me, it's a bad smell to it. But there's a lot of people who believe that sage has a wonderful aroma to enhance intuition, spiritual awareness. There is a belief that there is a connection to the divine. So for many, sage acts as a conduit to the divine or higher consciousness, facilitating, for example, a deeper connection during spiritual practices and meditation. And of course, healing, emotional wounds. So a lot of people use sage in healing emotional, spiritual wounds is akin to preparing for or recovering from spiritual battles. Now, there are, of course, when you're using sage and you're smudging, you have to always, I do it with prayer and I do it through meditation, which, by the way, prayer and meditation is a form of prayer. So I believe using sage can be integrated into prayer or meditation routines where its scent and smoke helps in focusing the mind, clearing mental clutter. So you might want to try it. If you've never tried it, give it a shot. So it certainly cannot hurt. I just simply don't believe it can. We talked a little bit about how, of course, the origins in ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, Native American, ancient Rome. So let's talk a little bit in a moment. We're going to talk about how you sage and what you do and what I do. And we can kind of go from there. All right. So this is, by the way, this is from Researchify, and this is what they say. And I want to present this to you guys. They say there are 10 benefits of burning sage. And again, folks, I'll get to your questions in just a second. So there are 10 benefits of burning sage. All right. So it says, first of all, and again, you can, if you agree with it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. It's entirely up to you. But let me just present this. It's a really good article, actually, Researchify. So it says, are you interested in burning sage to enhance the air quality in your house, improve your health, alleviate depression or anxiety? Well, in traditional medicine, sage is utilized as a spice and a way to promote health. Smudging, or the burning of sage, that's what we're talking about when you talk about smudge, is an ancient spiritual practice. Smudging is a common Native American culture or tribal practice. However, it is not practiced by all tribes. My grandmother liked sage. Its use is due to the traditions of numerous Native American people, among, of course, there's several of them. And common sage, Spanish sage, white sage, Chinese sage are the most well-known. And there's several others. Of course, those are not the only ones. Now, while some study data supports these benefits, it's still preliminary, and there's more research that's going on. Now, let's talk about mental health. And overall, there hasn't been enough. I don't think there's been enough research on the usage of sage for its alleged mental health advantages. There was a 2005 study. Standard sage oil boosted memory and cognition. And that's your thinking ability. So increased dosages were also connected to a better mood and attentiveness. Well, there we go. So maybe we'll have to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get some sage oil, and I'm going to try this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try that, and I'm going to give you guys a heads up. I'll let you guys know when I'm going to be doing it. So there's a store that I know that does sell sage oil, and I don't know which is, obviously what can be consumed, what cannot be consumed. I don't know. I'll have to find out. But I'm going to contact this store, and I'm going to ask them for the sage oil that you can consume, and I'm going to see if, in fact, if it has any type of effects. Now, I'm sure it takes a little bit of time, but I'll let you know. So smudging, or again, burning sage, is burning sage leaves and allowing the smoke to purify the air in your home. And burning sage serves a slightly different purpose than consuming it internally. Poor air quality, by the way, has been related to a variety of health problems. And that is true. Burning sage is viewed as a cost-effective technique to help purify the air. And by the way, sage is known to have antibacterial qualities, which it does help in destroying bacteria, fungi, and even viruses. Now, of course, it produces smoke. So if you have asthma, it's probably not a good idea. In addition to burning sage, some people employ sage cleansing sprays in their home. And so a lot of people say that sage burning, it gets rid of microorganisms in the air. Some people use it for an insect repellent, intuition improvement, purification of specific items, stress and anxiety is reduced. A lot of people, the antimicrobial properties are present in most commonly utilized forms of sage. There is a white prairie sage. A lot of people swear by white prairie sage. That is antimicrobial and antimicrobacterial. Now, that's white prairie sage. Now, white sage, by the way, is also antibacterial. And both are insect repellents, by the way. So it helps them, if you're dealing with insects. It turns out that sage can assist with more than pests and bacteria in the air. Now, there's a term called negative ions. So burning sage is said to release negative ions. It has not been experimentally confirmed, so we have to be careful about that. However, it is common positive ions. For example, it helps with mold, pet dander, dust, pollution. And again, I've talked about how it can be used as a spiritual tool, how it can dispel negative energy, how it cleanses and empowers objects, improves mood, and soothes and stress unless you smell it, which I don't think that helps at all. A lot of people say it improves sleep quality. So here's the deal with that. Smudging has long been used to protect against negative energy that could disrupt sleep. So according to some studies, sage has chemicals that may aid with insomnia, which, by the way, I do suffer from insomnia. Sometimes I'll be up for 2 days straight. And then on the third or fourth day, I just crash. A lot of people swear by garden sage. It is occasionally used in the same way as white sage. So people say that garden sage will help, it's been used to help people sleep better and relax. We talk about how, of course, it boosts cognition. Now, there was a 2016 study, an assessment of all the studies, evidence regarding salvia's cognitive enhancing advantages in promising, suggesting that we could actually use it to treat dementia and even Alzheimer's disease. So they're actually using now salvia as a possibility for treatment for that. Energy levels. Do I enjoy my insomnia? No, I don't. A lot of people will use this to boost energy levels and also fragrances. So here's a couple things that you need to do if you're going to, as far as tools, if you're going to smudge, and I'll tell you in a minute how I do it. You'll need like a ceramic, a clay, or a glass seashell, or a bowl for holding a burning sage or capturing ash. You really need to make sure you be careful about that, because a lot of people I'm seeing, sometimes they'll burn the sage, and I always make the sign of the cross. But when you're burning sage, the leaves can fall. And if they fall on carpet, you could get yourself in some trouble. So always kind of be careful about making sure that there's something underneath that sage stick so that it captures the, the ash. Now, there is a sage bundle or what's called a smudge stick. And a lot of people prefer matches over a manufacturer lighter. I don't really see a difference between the two. Now, some people use a fan or like a feather for fanning the smoke. A lot of people, they swear by white prairie sage, which I've used white prairie, and that's not too bad at all. White prairie is actually pretty good. And there, you can find sage in many, many places. So here's a couple things about how they say how you can smudge. Okay. So if you're going to smudge for spiritual, energetic, negativity clearance. So some people propose setting intentions before burning sage. You should remove certainly animals or people from the room, especially people who have any type of asthma. And before and during and after smudging, a lot of people say leave your window open is a good idea. I will do that if there is some type of malevolent spirit that's present. And that makes it possible for smoke to escape as well, so it doesn't linger. And so, according to this article, they say while there is a lack of data to back up its practice, there are a few disadvantages to burning sage in your house. In terms of mental health practices, burning sage is relatively inexpensive, which is true. And you can find them at pretty much, at any store these days now, certainly in New Age stores, definitely. So to begin with, you will need a container to burn the sage, a bowl, capture the ashes. You can also purchase a sage burner. You fill it with sand or soil. So what a lot of people do is they'll put like little sand in the bowl, so that when you burn the sage or you put it out, you don't destroy it by putting water. Once you put water on the sage, that's it. It's done. So what a lot of people will do is they'll put the sage that's burning, when it's finished, they'll put it in the sand. And of course, it goes out. So a lot of people do that, which is fine. So it says, before you start burning the sage, open a window, a door. It allows the smoke to leave. Fill the burning container with sage and ignite it. Keep it burning. Let it burn for a few seconds before blowing it out. And if the smoke stops coming out, we'll try lighting it again. It says, set an intention for what you're doing with the sage if you're utilizing it for spiritual purposes. So again, I use sage and I bless it. So I don't believe that sage in of itself has magical powers, any more than I believe that burning incense has magical powers. It is the intent behind it and the blessing provided. Allow the smoke to enter each room that you'd like to purify. And like if you're going to smudge a living space or an object, so if you're smudging yourself or your home, this is what they say. Using a match, light the end of the sage bundle, it catches fire. Once it catches fire, then you blow the flame out. The leaves tips should gently smolder, generating dense smoke. And with one hand, direct the smoke over your body and space while holding the bundle in the other. Allow the incense to remain on the parts of your body or environment that you want to concentrate on. So if I'm going to bless an individual, I will always make the sign of the cross over them. Because I'm using it for Christian perspectives. So I will bless myself. Then that's how I do that. And I will always make the sign of the cross. Now, some people don't. That's their right. But as a Christian, that's what I do. So I always make the sign of the cross. When you're smudging your home, direct sage smoke over all surfaces and places in your home and living areas in the case, and make an effort to be comprehensive. Some people propose going around your house in a clockwise pattern. I don't think it really is. I don't think it matters, quite honestly, but some people do. I always open all doors, all cabinets, all spaces. Well, thank you. If you're smudging an object, direct the smoke around or over your chosen object. Now, so for example, when people collect these haunted items and I bless them, if I use sage, I will always make the sign of the cross 3 times on the board. And then, of course, I use other prayers as well. So it's the matter and form. Some people like, I think it's called Palo Santo. I think that's what Palo Santo. Oh, good. Tim, what's it? Yeah, well, yeah, Mel, absolutely. Some people, they swear by Palo Santo. And then, of course, after smudging, check that your smudge stick is totally out and dip the candle's burning end into a small dish or ash in the sand to achieve this effect. What you don't want to do is some people, the other day, someone was telling me that they had the sage and then they put it underneath their faucet. And now it ruined it. It was like, well, yeah, you're not supposed to do it. You're supposed to, have some type of sand there, and you just put it in there and it takes it out. But make sure, obviously, before you put it up, make sure that there's no more burning ashes, because that could be bad. And extinguish your sage stick after clearing, gently by pressing it into the shell or clay. And then, of course, you can place it into wherever you want to. So you got to be careful with it. You don't want to, I've known somebody that wasn't very patient. And what they did is they immediately put it right back in this like a little container, and it destroyed the container because the ashes were still burning. So obviously, you got to be careful. By the way, here are some facts now. So let's talk about a little bit of facts, and then we'll get into your questions. This is from Tribal Trade. Tribal Trade, number 1. Smudging with sage reduces over 94% of harmful bacteria in your room. Now think about that for a second. Smudging with sage reduces over 94% of harmful airborne bacteria in your room. That's a huge reason that a lot of people start smudging. There is scientific research that so let's forget about the religious uses. Let's forget about that for a moment. Just for that reason alone, sage is quite beneficial. And there's scientific research that has been done, and that proves that the smoke's ability to disinfect and purify the air was maintained for up to 24 hours. So obviously now you can start saving money on Febreze and ignite those smudging sticks and bring in the purification. So also, number 2, smudging with sage, it neutralizes the positive ions in the room. So it makes the energy around us more free. And when you're stressed, angry, or tense, there is a buildup of positive ions in the air that is being released from your body. So, and this is science. So we know that this happens. The energy in the room becomes stagnant with an imbalance of positive ions. Now, just to be clear, positive ions aren't the same thing as positive vibes. positive ions are harmful and can actually cause us to feel tired, burnt out. And smudging turns the positive ions back to negative ions. See, we think negative ions is bad. In this case, it's not. And therefore, the practice of smudging cleanses and purifies the atmosphere. That's why, by the way, there are negative ion machines out there. That's why people use negative ions. Also, burning sage increases your clarity. So again, folks, I can't bring you on. So burning sage increases your clarity, your awareness, and also improves your mood. So this is not just an opinion. So studies have shown that smudging with sage makes you think more clearly, enhances your memory. We talked about that. The smoke from the smudging medicine has been used to help aid lung, brain, and skin function. And then by the way, this is research from over 50 countries have found that smoke has been used since ancient times to help improve respiratory system, nervous system, skin issues, etc. And there's a belief that the smoke heightens your state of mind so you can think pure thoughts and feel good physically and spiritually. But look, even if you don't use it for spiritual purposes, the fact that we do know that sage reduces over 94% of harmful airborne bacteria in your room, forget the idea of using sage for spiritual. If you don't want to, that's fine. But using sage to remove 94% of harmful airborne bacteria in your room, I think that alone is fair enough for anybody to want to smudge. Yeah. So yeah, what you need to do, again, what I always do is I go to in every room, and I ask God to remove any type of entity that's there. I go to every single spot. I go to closets. I also do what's called the epiphany of the doors or blessing of the doors. It's also known as chalking of the doors. Saying you can do that. You can go on Google that and download it. You can do that in your home. And then after you do this, you can also sage. So you go to every single room, every door, every window, and you make the sign of the cross. That's what I do. Make the sign of the cross and ask God to expel all evil that's in that room and the Holy Spirit descend upon this area and make it sacred. And that is a simple prayer from the heart. It's the intent behind what you're trying to complete and to help the families who are dealing with violent activity. So not everybody can, have charcoal. And so I think sage is a great alternative. So there we go. That's just a kind of an overview, if you will, a general overview of sage. And so hopefully that helped a lot. A lot of people have been slamming me with questions on Messenger, and this is why I was kind of distracting a little bit. So this is why I ask people just kind of hold off on the questions while I'm doing a lecture, because if I'm constantly getting bombarded with questions, it's very distracting, and then I have to close them out and that kind of stuff. Okay. Oh, I believe there needs to be a separation of church and state. Yep. All right. So if you have any questions, now we'll open it up to that. And I also have a lot of articles that I want to. I'm telling you, the essential oil sage, that's what I was talking about earlier today. I think I'm going to try that. Said exorcism is true. Yeah, exorcism is true. So what if you believe your significant other has a negative attachment? Well, I would speak to your partner and always have a conversation with them and find out why you think they have a negative attachment and kind of go from there. Let me just explain this, everybody, because it's very important. You can pray over a person. So if someone has an attachment, anybody can pray over another person. And we really call that a deliverance. And I forgot, I've had Bel Air house tours up there for the whole time. I didn't even notice that. Sorry, on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, I've had the Bel Air house tours on that for the whole time. So you can absolutely pray over a person. The person has an attachment. Pray the St. Michael prayer. So, St. Michael, the archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the malice and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do that, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all evil spirits who wander the earth seeking the ruin of souls. Now, there's a longer prayer of St. Michael, and there is a shorter form as well. I think you can, but I'm not 100% sure, Monty Rose, but I think you can. But the problem with that is if you're using it for purposes like, cleansing the area, the 94% of antibacteria, then yeah, you can buy that anywhere, I think. But if you're going to use, and I want this to make it very clear, from my perspective, as a Christian, as an exorcist, then I will say that I think if one is going to use sage to expel a malevolent or demonic entity, then I would absolutely have that sage blessed. Because I don't think, in my personal opinion, that this item in of itself has magical powers any more than I do a charcoal that I put in a church censer that is not blessed. That does not have magical powers either. And it still doesn't have magical powers even after it is blessed. It is just a sacramental of the church. So, but I would encourage you to, yeah. Okay. A lot of people have asked me about the Hat Man. Have you guys ever heard of this before? The Hat Man? This is an actual real thing. A lot of people, it's interesting, through the years, through the years, you kind of, a lot of people have, wow. The Benadryl Man. Yeah, we definitely, I agree on that. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of people. Yeah. It's, oh, I think, yeah, the people are making fun of the Hat Man, but it's true. It is, it's true. So, but a lot of people are talking about this. And so we're going to talk a little bit about it because I think it's important. All right. Well, now you can pray over any item, but now when you're talking about it being a sacramental of the church, then you need to have clergy do this. Doing well. Hopefully you are as well, very reverend lady. Sure would. So let's talk about, or Slender Man. So let's talk about Hat Man, everybody. Hat Man. It's interesting. I don't know about this one, but we'll have a conversation about it and see what you guys think, and go from there. And this is from The Week. A lot of people are talking about this guy. It's kind of weird, but it's the sleep paralysis demon. But here's what's interesting about this. It is a sleep paralysis demon that is seen around the world. So this is not just a culture based on, just a particular region. There's a lot of people from all over the world seeing this thing. So tales of things that go bump in the night are often met with skepticism, but one nightmarish figure keeps cropping up in reports from all around the world. And this is true. Since the late 2000s, posters on social media and online message boards have been sharing their experiences of waking up in the dark to find a shadowy figure dubbed the Hat Man looming over them. Now, the phenomenon has attracted widespread attention, inspiring documentaries, and the launch of a dedicated blog called the Hat Man Project, where people can share their experiences. So something that, quote, probably began with a trick of the light or processed by the human subconscious has become a dominant character within the digital culture. Thank you, said Rolling Stone. The spooky being has inspired its own lore and countless witness reports, lately fueled by TikTok's fascination with the paranormal and the occult. But see, I disagree with that because it's not just happening on TikTok. So descriptions of what the Hat Man are remarkably consistent from one count to the next, said Rolling Stone. It's the tall silhouette of a man in a brimmed hat, a presence that tends to appear when you're in bed at night, somewhere between sleep and consciousness. Of course, said the magazine, as more people talk about the Hat Man online, the more power the myth obtains, the more the image becomes self-perpetuating, as those consuming it automatically become disposed to recognize the Hetman in their own bedrooms. AKA, what that means is the more that it is presented in public, that it embeds basically in our psyche, and then we immediately, subconscious picks up on it. Let me just explain something about sleep paralysis. There are a lot of people on social media that are going and they're talking and teaching about sleep paralysis and saying that all sleep paralysis episodes are demonic. This is incorrect. It is 100% incorrect. And I'm saying that as a theologian, but I'm also saying that as a person who had a neurosurgeon on our show. That this was about maybe 10 years. It's been many years ago, 10 years ago, I think. He was on the show and he talked about sleep paralysis from a medical perspective. He's a neurosurgeon. I said, look, here's the deal. I can explain sleep paralysis from a theological perspective, but I want you to explain it from a medical perspective. And this is how he explained it. When you go to sleep, ultimately you become catatonic. The subconscious of the brain controls your motor functions. In other words, you breathe and you breathe out. You breathe and you just, it's not something you think about. Something that naturally happens. The part of the brain that dreams is the subconscious. And when you're going to sleep, then what happens is the subconscious takes control of the body. You become catatonic. If something startles you or wakes you up and you're still in that dazed kind of, environment or mindful awareness, then if you are projecting, well, thank you. Then the subconscious can project this image. And that usually happens about 30 seconds. And then after the consciousness takes control of the motor functions of the body, then that image goes away. All right. Now, so here's the deal. The doctor did say if you suffer from what is called recurrent isolated sleep paralysis, that's RISP, which means exactly what it sounds like. It's recurring. Then you might want to get tested for narcolepsy. Now, there's a term called isolated sleep paralysis, and that's actually quite common. But this is what I'm going to tell you guys. If you have, and it's scary, it is scary. So if you're going to bed, you're going to sleep, or if these events happen when you wake up, and that's it. That's it. There's nothing else that happens during the day, then it's not demonic. We know that for absolute certainty, and I'll tell you why. So when you're going to sleep and your subconscious has control of the brain, and you get startled or you wake up for whatever reason, you're in that dazed, confused kind of mental space, then your subconscious is projecting this image. When your consciousness takes control and this thing fades away and nothing else happens, you have no other manifestations in your home, meaning religious objects are not desecrated, loud bangings are not occurring, the smelling of sulfur or rotten flesh is not occurring, no other paranormal activities occurring in your home, nothing, and it's just that, then this is sleep paralysis. That's it. Now, keep in mind, can you have sleep paralysis? And can it be demonic? Absolutely. But you're going to have activity during the day. You're going to have manifestations during the day if it's demonic. Because when you have demonic infestation, that term alone clearly demonstrates that you're going to have some form of outward manifestations of the demonic infestation. So if the demon has infested itself within the home, you're going to have activity. Plus, a lot of people who have these sleep paralysis episodes or these episodes where they see these shadowy figures, this can happen during the day when they're wide awake. It doesn't happen when they're just going to bed or waking up. So if this only happens when you are just going to bed or waking up, and that's it, there's no other activity occurring, that's sleep paralysis. That's it, folks. But everybody wants to tell you, oh, it's all demons. Well, and then you say, well, how many cases of sleep paralysis episodes have you worked? None. So you're getting your information from YouTube. Well, I'm telling you, as clergy, I've been doing this for over 2 decades. And I've had a lot of cases where people have had sleep paralysis episodes, and they're terrifying and they are scary, but they have no other manifestations in their home, none whatsoever. And they have religious objects there. They pray in their home, no other activity, nothing. It is sleep paralysis. That's it. But again, it is scary, and I get it. But going back to the Hat Man, this is interesting. The Hat Man is a modern day example of a shadow person. Now, look, for those of you, if you're a paranormal investigator, you know as well as I do, if you've ever seen the shadow people are quite common. But I've had a lot of cases where shadow people were not evil at all. There was nothing. I didn't feel evil. I didn't experience evil. There was nothing evil with that presence. Nothing. And then I've had experiences where the shadow people was 100% evil. For example, the Gates of Hell Cemetery, which, by the way, you can go to my YouTube page, my YouTube, whatever it is. And, I'll talk about the 3 a.m. thing. It's just like, so if you go to my YouTube page and you can go and just type in, or just look for the Gates of Hell documentary. Now, the Gates of Hell documentary, we saw shadow people, and that was evil, pure evil, 100%. So that's the thing with shadow people. I've had cases where I did see shadow people, and there was nothing malevolent. There was nothing evil. There was not I didn't feel threatened. But then there were times where I saw shadow people, and everything in my body was telling me to leave. See, folks, here's the deal. Jonathan. Here's the deal with shadow people. Again, not all of them are evil, and when it comes to demons, you do not need a psychic. You do not need a medium to tell you if a demon is present. I'm going to tell you that right now. If a demon is present, then everything in your body is going to tell you to run away. Your sixth sense kicks in and you say, nope, this is not good. I don't need to be here. I need to leave. Your body will tell you. You just know something is bad here. And so, but I've been to many locations where there were shadow people and I did not feel threat at all. Not at all. Not only were the shadow people present, but there was nothing violent. There was no activity. There was no demonic activity, manifestations whatsoever. None. Or temperature changes. But let's talk about the Hat Man. It's a modern day. It's a shadow person. The paranormal concept. It dates back, by the way, to ancient times. Not the shadow man, but for as long as written records have existed, people have described a frightening nighttime vision that paralyzes them with fear and seems to take the breath right out of them. So we're talking about sleep paralysis. And the shape of the frightening figure, it occasionally varies. But a lot of people usually report feeling utterly paralyzed with terror, which that's sleep paralysis. But then after 30 seconds or go, it goes away. So we talked a little bit about sleep paralysis. Now, so why do people get sleep paralysis demons? Well, while the exact cause of hallucinations like the Hat Man are unknown, experts believe they occur when people experience the vivid dreams of REM sleep. REM, R-E-M, stands for rapid eye movement. So REM sleep while they are awake. And it's quite interesting. And some say the figure of the Hat Man may be subconscious, reworkings of figures from popular culture, including popular horror films in recent times. However, that's a problem because not everybody in different cultures have watched these horror movies. Christopher French, he's a psychology professor at Goldsmith University of London. He said the very first thing that came to mind when he thought about the Hat Man, who do you think it was? I'm curious. So what this is his hypothesis. And it makes a lot of sense. But this psychology professor, Lely got it right. Freddy Krueger. So the psychology professor said that in the University of London, said the first thing that came to mind when he thought about the Hat Man was Freddy Krueger, A Nightmare on Elm Street. No, because he says that his hypothesis is that the notion that you can be attacked when you're asleep, that's when you're vulnerable. And of course, Freddy Krueger wears the hat. So subconsciously speaking, he thinks that this is where many of this comes from, because technically the Hat Man theory or conspiracy, if you will, or whatever terminology you want to use, many people actually believe that started during the or after the Freddy Krueger. Go away, Siri. Siri's always listening. That's my Siri. Well, the phone came on. But he think that that's what happened because of Freddy Krueger. But for centuries, cultures across the world have attributed these hallucinations to black magic, mythical creatures, even paranormal activity. And there's a researcher at Harvard University's Department of Psychology. He was Balan Jalal, wrote in Scientific American. And he suggested that people who fear supernatural demons in the night are more likely to experience the phenomenon again. And he says it appears that the more people fear sleep paralysis, the more they experience it. And not only that, the stronger its effects are. That's interesting. What about instead of the Hat Man, the gray alien? Yeah. Hippie Gypsy's talking about the gray alien. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people who are seeing these grays. There's a lot. So this sleep paralysis episode, we just simply do not know. We don't know this theory. Where did this Hat Man come from? It is a good hypothesis. Thank you there, Canadian. I appreciate it. It is a good hypothesis that the psychologist who came up with, because it does appear that since the Nightmare on Elm Street movies came out, that a lot of people are seeing this Hat Man, because it doesn't seem like a whole lot of reports prior to that have occurred during sleep paralysis or sleep paralysis episodes. So that's it's an interesting hypothesis. When I thought, you know what, I'm gonna share this with everybody. So it is interesting. Don't feel that's true with anything. I don't understand what. Yeah, thank you there, Angel. I appreciate that. So that's what it does appear that it might be that, which makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. It could be that subconsciously speaking or thinking that it could be a projection of Freddy Krueger. And by the way, of course, when you're talking about sleep and you're talking about nightmares, all that occurs with the Freddy Krueger incident. So it does make sense. Oh no, I won't know. Okay. Yeah. Now, by the way, we're not leaving yet. We still got about more than a half hour to go. So we got some more fun times to go. Now, I wanted to talk about, let me talk about this. This here. Folks, I have got to share this with you. Because I saw this the other day and I'm like, okay, we've got to talk about this. We have to talk about this. So listen to this. Speaking of grays, by the way, an ex-Pentagon official. So folks, this guy, we're talking about a person who worked in the Pentagon. And I'm not trying to be someone who actually was a higher up. Okay, so he knew some things. An ex-Pentagon, and this is by News Nation, an ex-Pentagon official claims that the United States has indeed recovered non-human specimens. Now, Luis Elizondo, he is a Department of Defense insider, and he resigned from his job with the Department of Defense to go public. This is big stuff. I mean, again, this person he was on the inside. I mean, he worked in the Pentagon, and if you know anything about the Pentagon in the United States, that's top secret. That is, it's the same thing as far as even the CHAG or the HAG, that you have this vision and then it goes away. So listen to this. Listen, this was really amazing. A former Pentagon insider, Luis Elizondo, says a Department of Defense has a spacecraft crash retrieval. It has a program and has recovered non-human specimens. So again, the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, has a spacecraft crash retrieval program. Now, just let that sink in for a moment. The Department of Defense has a program specifically for recovering spacecraft crash. So, a News Nation special, Elizondo reveals more than any Pentagon official has done before, naming the government agencies and aerospace companies he says possesses these alleged spacecraft. So he told News Nation, Ross Coulthart, that the United States government recovered one of two unidentified anomalous phenomena, which is UAP, during Roswell 1947. He says the United States has been involved in the recovery of objects, vehicles of unknown origin that are neither from our country or any other foreign country that we are aware of, he said. We as a nation, he says, have been interested in not only the vehicles themselves, but the occupants of these vehicles, to include biological specimens. We are not alone. We are not alone in this universe. And it is a simple fact. The U.S. government has been aware of that fact for decades. So the Department of Defense, by the way, has rebuked Elizondo's comment in a statement to News Nation denying the existence of any credible evidence of extraterrestrial activity. Well, he says, as quote, as stated previously, Luis Elizondo has no assigned responsibilities for the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. That's what it's actually called. Folks, this is what it's, listen to this. So first of all, they just admitted that the program exists. Did they not realize what they did? So this is a spokesperson. So Sue Goff, Department of Defense spokesperson, told News Nation, said this: as we have stated previously, Luis Elizondo had no assigned responsibility for the what? Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Well, that's a nice little name to say, isn't it? That certainly sounds like what he actually just said, that this exists. So, I mean, I don't know if she really thought that through. Perhaps, maybe she did. But I mean, that sounds like there's something going on there. And he called it. So anyway, while assigned to the office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security. But you do admit that you have a program called Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. So why would you have a program if aliens don't exist? Anyway, it says the department is fully committed to openness and accountability to Congress and the American people, which it must balance with its obligation to protect sensitive information sources and methods. To date, we have not found any credible evidence of extraterrestrial activity. So to date, AARO has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession of reverse engineering or of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. I just don't buy this. I don't buy it. Oh, first of all, why would this person has nothing to gain. Well, thank you there, Len. This person has nothing to gain. Luis Elizondo has nothing to gain by leaving his job and becoming a whistleblower, unless there is something, unless it truly bothered him. Unless something's happening. I just think that's so. UFO believers push back on that sentiment. So do we, contending that the Pentagon is running a disinformation campaign to discredit him. And additionally, by the way, they believe Elizondo's involvement in the UAP program at the Pentagon has been confirmed multiple times. And these include a letter from former assistant, by the way. So those include a letter from former Assistant Deputy Secretary of Defense, thank you, Chris Mellon, to Senator Harry Reid, that actually allegedly confirmed Elizondo's specific role in AATIP. Somebody didn't go back and look at the memos, did they? So now you attack this guy, Elizondo, and you say he had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with the program that, by the way, doesn't exist. Okay. But yet, Assistant Deputy Secretary of Defense Chris Mellon sent a memo to Harry Reid that confirmed Elizondo's specific role. And also internal DOD, Department of Defense emails since made public also allegedly indicate that Elizondo was actually running AATIP. So the Department of Defense has emails that have been made public that said this guy is not, because people are trying to say, well, he was just maybe a janitor or something. No, he was actually the director. I don't know if you're the director of this type of organization working for the Pentagon and you go public with this, there's a really good reason why you're going public. And I don't know I think there's something there. I really do. There absolutely is something go. Some people don't believe it, and that's fine. But I don't know. I kind of and by the way, what do you think those artifacts are? Aliens? First of all, I don't think aliens are demons, and I just don't. I don't believe that. I do believe that aliens do exist, and I do believe that there are far too many people who are very credible who have experienced UFOs or things of this nature. And look, here's the deal. To believe that we are the only life in this universe is absurd. It is absurd beyond all, I think, scientific arguments. Do you realize that it takes 10 years to get from here to Jupiter at traveling 42,000 miles per hour? 10 years. And do you realize we are a speck of dust? A speck of our solar system, we are actually quite small. We're minuscule compared to the universe. There are billions of Milky Ways just like ours. Billions. And to actually think that we're the only life, I just don't believe it. I don't. Well, everything created is created by God. Everything. So that's certainly what I believe. And by the way, and there's also, I want to tell you this story. There are pilots. Now, the professional pilots, there's a pilot, I think in Tokyo, Japan Airlines, and the captain actually filed a report, an official report stating that he saw a metal object that was, I mean, twice their size and flying at speeds that were impossible. So to me, I just think they have nothing to gain. So listen to this story. This is by TK Randall, and this is really interesting. There is a video that actually captures airline pilots' encounter with a UFO during the flight. This is pretty interesting. It says here, the footage shows unexplained lights moving in the night sky through the side window of the cockpit. The incident, which was filmed from the cockpit of a 747 during a routine flight from Saudi Arabia to Nigeria, left both pilots of the airliner scratching their heads. It had been only around 30 minutes since the plane had taken off when they noticed a strange, extremely bright object moving around freely in the night sky outside the plane. He said, "This is my experience of seeing something strange or UFOs," said Captain Rudd Van Panjamanan, who uploaded the footage to his YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, let me just, I'm going to do this right now because I'm going to go to YouTube and let me give you his name so that you can do this as well, and we can watch this live all there together. So it's Captain RUUD. So Captain RUUD, and then Van VAN. And the last name is spelled PANGE, E as in elephant, M as in Michael, ANAN. There, I'm going to post that. There we go on the chat. There, you guys can see that. So that's the So if you, I typed right here, Captain Rudd, Boeing 747. I'm just going to click this, and there it is right there. UFO intercepts. Okay, I don't know why we have all this. Okay, great. Yeah. Now, well, come on, just show it. Oh yeah, there it is. Wow, it's quite interesting. Yeah, I mean, this is a 747 pilot that they are trained to observe and be cautious. But yeah, you can. Oh yeah, that's clearly something. That's weird, and it definitely has their attention, and that's bright. Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at Boeing 747 pilot Captain Rudd films multiple UFOs from outside his aircraft. Wow. So anyway, that's pretty interesting. He said, well, what we still see is a mystery. Before that, we thought it was a light plane, but it wasn't on our radar. People saying it's a plane. So we thought maybe it was a star, but the stars didn't move. And the UFO light shone for a long time and moved. And unfortunately, the light continued without incident, but their encounter still remains unexplained. So that's pretty interesting. So take a look at that and see what you guys think. It's an interesting video. Yeah, I don't know. Money Rose actually did a presentation on Scientology, and that was an interesting presentation. So anyway, if you guys haven't looked at that, you might want to. It is interesting. I'll tell you what. It's when you see these things, these pilots are seeing this stuff. So there's something going on. By the way, for those of you who play PlayStation 5, if you're a PlayStation 5 or if you're a gamer or something of this nature, well, you might be interested in this. There is a game coming out. It is a paranormal horror game. And no, I'm not endorsing this. I'm passing on this information to you. It is called The Occultist. The Occultist. It's a paranormal horror game announced for PlayStation 5. Developer Dolar and published Daedalic Entertainment have revealed The Occultist, a new paranormal horror game coming out in PS5 in 2025. So in The Occultist, players will step into the shoes of Alan Rebels as he embarks on a harrowing journey to the islands of Godstone, determined to uncover the truth behind his father's mysterious disappearance. Equipped with his mystical pendulum, Alan must navigate the foggy streets and eerie buildings of Godstone and place once home to a notorious cult known for its disturbing experiments and rituals. So the story of The Occultist unfolds as Alan Rebels explores Godstone, using his paranormal talent to communicate with the ominous souls that linger in its desolate streets and buildings. As he delves deeper into the island's dark history, Alan's convictions about the occult are put to the test. So you can look at the trailer if you want online. Here are some key features of The Occultist: a mystic pendulum, which I don't like pendulums. The same principle of using a Ouija board. Sorry, it just is. And utilize the pendulum's 5 unique mechanisms to interact with and manipulate the environment. First-person experience. I don't like. I have seen these first-person experience games. I don't know how people play those things. That just well, thank you there, Marty. I appreciate it. Thank you. That makes me it just makes me dizzy. But in first-person experience, immerse yourself in the foreboding world of The Occultist through Alan's eyes. Survival horror, experience tense exploration, atmospheric environments, and gripping personal narrative. Next generation graphics, hide and sneak, employ stealth mechanisms, and memorable characters, etc., and solving puzzles. So, yeah, the Banshees are really interesting. I did a presentation once on the Banshees. There's a lot of debate, and I think that demons can, especially with there's so many. again, I think demons can project themselves in a variety of ways. We've talked about skinwalkers. We had Willie Windwalker Gibson on. He talked about skinwalkers from a Native American perspective. But banshees, I think it fits in the same realm. There's a lot of people talk about that. Or La Llorona. A lot of people. La Llorona is the belief, this folklore that there was a woman. The story is there was a woman who unalived her children by near water. And when you hear this woman wailing and screaming, and she's by the water, and then she will attack you. And so a lot of people swear that this creature does exist. Perhaps it does. I've never seen La Llorona, but it certainly is there. It is definitely no question about it. Have you guys seen? It's in Colombia. Have you guys seen this strange clip? I think I did. Oh, I firmly believe that Bigfoot exists. There are just too many people. I want to do another presentation on Bigfoot. Here's the deal with Bigfoot. Oh, and by the way, by the way, I did get a hold of an individual who lives his life 24/7 as a vampire. So I was able to get a hold of somebody, and he has also informed me that he will be willing to come on and be interviewed. And so he lives his life as a vampire. He is a firm belief that he is a vampire. And so we will be doing this presentation. I'm going to ask him if he is available next week. So I'll be sending him a message tonight after I get off air here. And it will strictly be audio. It'll strictly be audio. And the reason being because obviously I wish there was a way. If TikTok would allow StreamYard to connect to it, which it won't, then I could have done an audio and video presentation. But see, that's why when people want to come up on TikTok with me, I can't bring you on screen because the folks here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, KGRDB Radio, and they won't be able to see or hear you. So it will strictly be audio, and I will be interviewing him, just as I do with Willie Windwalker Gibson. So he's a very nice person. I've seen several of his videos, several of his presentations, and I think it's going to be a really great presentation. So I've made it very clear to him, I'm not here to judge. I'm here to present his story to you guys, and we're going to go from there. So look out for that. I have a feeling that he might, in fact, I think he is available next week. Let me just double check. I'm just going to do it right now. I'm going to do it. Hold on. This is, we want to turn this, go here. And let's see what he says here. Because I think I sent him a message just last night. And, okay. Yeah, he said, absolutely be interested. And I got to send him an email. There we go. So there we are. I'm going to screenshot this. And I'll send him an email tonight. And hopefully, folks, we might have a vampire on the presentation next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. I want to remind everybody, don't forget, and I'm not leaving, but don't forget on Friday the 13th, we are going to be live, and we're going to be live at the Bel Air House. The Bel Air House has been, it's been on a lot of television shows. Kristen Lee is the owner. We are going to have several folks there. I'm going to be there. There's several other individuals who's going to be there. And I think Sean Austin is going to be there as well. And I've not met Sean, but he's going to be there. And we're just going to have a good time and meet people. And I think there are going to be some investigations going on at the Bel Air House as well. So that's going to be Friday the 13th in September. So again, if you want to, and that the very limited space, I'm just giving you heads up now. That's in Bel Air, Ohio. So if you want to, if you can show up, and you can be on the show. but it's got the Bel Air House Tours. Bel Air House Tours. That's all one word. BelAirHouseTours.com. And I guess you can get your tickets there. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. But it's really, really limited space. So just giving you heads up now. But Bel Air, BELLAIRE. That's Bel Air, BELLAIRE, House Tours, all one word.com. So if you're going to do there, please make sure you check that out because I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And one more thing, don't forget, we are going to be at the West Virginia Penitentiary Horror and Paracon, and that's September the 14th and the 15th. And so I'm going to be presenting, I'm going to be doing some presentations, plus I'll have a room of haunted items that will be present. I'll make sure you guys can see that. And you can go to WV. So WV is in West Virginia, WVPenTours.com. WVPenTours.com. And you can get your tickets there. And then, of course, we'll update you again in Arkansas. I'll be in Arkansas Paranormal Expo. And that's going to be in October. So good times. Looking forward to that. In Dayton, Ohio, really. So Luma the Bean on YouTube says, I saw Netflix is doing a documentary on the largest vampire group in Dayton, Ohio. That's interesting. You wouldn't think, you would think of all places, Dayton, Ohio, huh? But anyway, I will give you guys, I promise you, as soon as I can confirm with this gentleman about Friday, next Friday at 7 p.m. That's the goal. Once I confirm it, I will let you guys know. And I will put advertisements on it, and you'll get to see his picture. And that way you'll kind of know who I'm talking to, because since you don't have a visual on the promos, I'll put on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere else. That way you'll see him. Okay. So he really is a very nice person. Very nice guy. By the way, have you seen this short clip of a strange werewolf-like creature? It's on TikTok. It's gone viral. It's pretty interesting. This is by TK Randall. The footage shows an unidentified dark-colored creature moving in a peculiarly eerie and unnatural way. So is there something lurking on the streets of Argentina? Well, some people certainly seem to think so. The unusual clip, which was reportedly filmed in this Argentina, went viral after being uploaded into video sharing social media website TikTok. And this is who, if you want to see it, it's Leo Gomez. Leo Gomez, all one word, 977. So Leo Gomez, 977. It shows a peculiar creature that appears to be kneeling or sitting down on a road at night with its limbs outstretched in an unnatural, eerie way that's difficult to make sense of. Now, its head can also be seen as moving up and down. And the clip, which racked up a large number of views, by the way, the likes and even comments, generated some heated debate, with some users suggesting that it shows is actually a werewolf, something that is particularly entrenched in the local folklore. Now, otherwise, some members see that it's a deliberate hoax. You might want to check this out. If you have not seen it, I have. It is interesting. It is interesting. Leo Gomez with a Z977. It is kind of weird. But see, here's the problem. And thank you guys. Thank you for this. You know, with AI, seriously, with AI, it is now becoming nearly impossible. Okay, Ms. Burrs, it is becoming nearly impossible to kind of differentiate between reality and hoax, because AI has become so advanced now. I'm not kidding you. I saw an AI picture, and this is truly cray-cray, but I saw an AI picture of Donald Trump embracing Kamala Harris with a great big smooch. Now, folks, let me tell you something. That looked like a real picture. And it was created by artificial AI. If you haven't seen it, Google it. Donald Trump kissing Kamala Harris, artificial intelligence. Oh, I know it never happened. But see, that's the problem. That's the problem, isn't it? Because it was the picture was not distorted in any way. It actually looked like someone took a picture of them on stage embracing each other. And when I saw that, I thought, now I've always knew artificial intelligence was somewhat concerning, but see, now I truly understand why AI is very dangerous, because all it would take is someone to create a country, a president or a dictator saying some things that he or she never said, and that could right there could set off a world war. Because when I saw that, I thought, man, and this is really getting scary. You might want to take a look at this. Maybe you might be somewhat concerned as I was. For those of you on Spreaker, I'm going to say goodnight to you guys. It's a problem, folks. It goes by too fast. It goes by too fast. But I'm going to remind everybody, we're going to be here tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to have our open mic night with Miss Judy Ann and Miss Wilma, where we goof around from 8 p.m. until 8:30. We just have a good time. We just have a great time. And then at 8:30, I go into your paranormal questions, your demonology questions. So we're going to enjoy that. Don't forget, tonight at 9:45 p.m., we play music. And then at 10 o'clock, we have night prayer. It's strictly on Spreaker. Go to usocc.org. Scroll down. You'll see where it says night prayer. Click it. Scroll all the way down. And you'll see where it says how you can chat in our Spreaker chat room. And I'll let you guys know once I get confirmation from this gentleman, this vampire. I promise you, I will make a video and I will promote it, and you will know when he's going to be on. TikTok, stay with me for just a second. Remember, my friends, I tell you always, your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. Remember, you're priceless, and don't let anybody tell you or convince you otherwise. Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, KGRADB Radio, and Twitter. Good night. The Sacred Division has been brought to you by Bishop Long's online paranormal course. Learn demonology, angelology, paranormal studies, and genealogy. It's 100% online, and you learn at your own pace. Please go to www.bishopjameslong.com and click on the paranormal course link.